What is up, everyone? Today I'll be showing off some Slosher stuff. These are some techniques that I think people may or may not actually be aware of, as I don't see them coming out too often, and I don't see people talking about these things too often. But the Slosher is one of those weapons that I feel is actually very underrated. It's got a very powerful burst bomb combo, and it's one of the few weapons that has this and can capitalize on something like this, giving it a very fast kill time, whether the burst bombs be direct or indirect, with some damage, as you can see here. Burst bombs just give this weapon a very easy kill potential, and the fact that the Slosher itself isn't very affected by fall-off damage gives it a pretty consistent two-shot kill. It does have a very slight hitbox where it'll do less than 70, but that's not going to come up very often, and if you do hit that, then you can most likely finish them off with the burst bombs anyway. Without any Inksaver sub, the Slosher can throw 2 burst bombs and still get 2 sloshes out. That's more than enough to kill people if you've damaged them, or just create a path for you to get away. Though it is recommended to at least run some Inksaver main or sub on this weapon. I personally just don't do it. And now I bet you're wondering what it is you're supposed to be learning from this. Well, people know that the Slosher is a 2-hit kill, but it kind of suffers from its hitbox being pretty much in a straight line. However, you can kind of cheese this out a little bit by doing something that I'm going to call Slosher Strafing. It's not like what you would see with a shooter where they will go left to right as they fire, but instead you will reset the Inkling into ink and then follow up with another slosh, instead of standing still and continuing to slosh that way. This will leave you less open and allow you to still maneuver around the opponent as they are trying to outstrafe you. And the other thing I want to show off is what I call flick sloshing. When you think of flicking, you most likely either think of rollers flicking the roller, or you think of chargers that will snap over to the opponent as they shoot them. However, because of the way that the Slosher's hitbox works and that it comes out rather than being in a constant fire, using the gamepad and tilting and moving it around as you start the slosh, it is actually possible to carry it into a different direction than going straight forward. Doing this in such a way will allow you to still hit people that are to your left or to your right just by flicking the camera around as you slosh. Doing this will allow you to get the advantage on some pesky enemies that might have swam just out of your reach, say a dynamo or any form of roller or something like that has just swam out of your forward straight line. Then you can flick slosh them to follow up a shot. And because of the Slosher's pretty consistent damage, it'll still be doing that 70 damage range, even though technically it shouldn't be doing that because the hitbox has been adjusted in some way. While nailing this trick is pretty difficult, it's not perfectly consistent. This will give you a pretty good method of fighting back from people that are trying to outmaneuver you, or just to get to the people you see out of the corner of your eye. So really quick, let's go over some of the gear that I use for this. Now keep in mind this is my gear, and I am not trying to enforce what I use onto other people, so don't take that as what I'm trying to do here. My Slosher build actually consists of no Inksaver sub or main, but it consists of comeback with the 3 subs of damage up. The reason I use comeback is because I love all of the boosts that it gives you, and I honestly feel like comeback is always a good option to have on pretty much anything, because eventually you're going to die, and that's a 20-second boost to a pretty decent amount of abilities. The damage up is actually for the burst bombs. The weapon itself is always a consistent 2-shot, like I mentioned before. However, the damage up will allow the burst bombs to do more damage. It'll be easier for you to fight defense this way. I don't stack like 3 mains or whatever that most sloshers do, because I actually am just trying to guarantee that my burst bombs stay in a 30 damage range. I'm not trying to play burst bomb main essentially. Then I use 3 mains worth of QR, mostly just because respawning faster in this game's meta is always the positive thing, and the swim speed is just to be able to maneuver and do the slosher strafing that I mentioned prior. Another benefit to flick sloshing is it allows you to hit multiple targets at once using the same slosh, to where normally you would have to switch between targets that you are attacking or just throw burst bombs to damage more than one target. Flick sloshing will allow you to carry a line over both targets or even 3 targets or ever how many people you're trying to hit. While flick sloshing may not be the easiest thing to do, as you can see, I myself am still very inconsistent at it. Knowing this and being able to get this, however, gives you a pretty good advantage in combat against other players. They won't be expecting something like this, and I've definitely had a lot of moments in ranked where this has come up, and I've been able to take out people that were just to my side that I hadn't been able to hit if I didn't do otherwise. Just changing your camera over to face the opponent, then hoping your straight line shot will get them, is a little too slow and not as reliable as being able to do something like this. And if you get a good grasp on this, then you'll have a good chance at fighting people that are just out of the corner of your eye or just outside of your normal straight line hitbox. This may seem very inconsistent, and it'll take some practice to get used to and to take full advantage of, but it is definitely worth looking into and trying, as I feel like this does give the Slosher a benefit that not many people seem to realize it has. And just in general, the Slosher needs to be played more. So I hope this video taught you something that you probably didn't know about the Slosher, and I hope that some of you now decide to give it a chance and try this out. I'd say just even mess around with this in the training area. You'll see what I'm talking about and see how useful this could be, and hopefully some people give it a shot in ranked. I'd like to see it a bit more, as I do have a decent amount of faith in this weapon. So thanks for watching, everyone, and I will see you all later.